Okay, welcome back. I just thought it would be interesting to see which one of these settings on here, heat or cool, took the most electricity. So yesterday we established that this little power generator can definitely operate this heater or cooler. And we're starting with a temperature of about 67, 68 degrees inside so far. And again, it's about partly cloudy, but that shouldn't affect too much because we're not going to use the solar at all. We're going to try to keep these tests somewhat similar. We're starting it off at 100% on the power bank, turning it on, run it for about 4 hours or so, right around noontime for about 4 hours. If you like this kind of content, please hit like and subscribe. The initial load is about 44 or 45 watts, and we're going to let it run and check in from time to time. All right, so it's about 3 o'clock. So it's about the same amount of time, maybe a little bit shorter, but it is much more sunny today. So that really doesn't have too much to do for the first part of the test. Maybe the ambient temperature because it's sunny. Yeah, it's a bit warmer out. So it's warmer than yesterday, but I do not have the solar panel hooked up to the battery bank here. And it's been running just on the battery power, no solar at all, 66% out usage, and it's running at about 32 watts, which was down from the beginning. It starts right in the high 40s when it first gets going and does that initial compression. So the fan is on, the button is on. Let's go ahead, take a reading inside. And it's similar, 56. Seems like this, oh, there's 53, 54. So, I don't know, kind of seems like, you can see it's 83 with a little dot just on the outside here. So it is warmer outside today, for sure. But seems like this little cooler, again, it's a well-built cooler, like a 6-pack or so in there. Or if you wanted to put some other stuff you just wanted to keep cool, not frozen, but just cool. So I don't know, maybe some like yogurt or vegetables, little snacks like that. You could keep that in there, and that's pretty nice. And you should have no problem whatsoever, at least in the shade, running it just on this little machine here. So if you wanted to have a day or a half a day, if you had this little guy right here, it should be no problem operating this. So that's the test for today. Just for giggles, let's go ahead and plug in the solar and see what happens. Alright, so I plugged in the solar and it's going way up. It's really nice and sunny. Direct sun. 31 watts. I've only seen it go up to, 51 watts. I've only ever seen it going up to 52 watts. So that's kind of interesting. I thought that Renogy solar panel was a 100-watt panel. Maybe it's degraded. It has been up there for, I don't know, 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. So I don't know. So it's kind of, okay, so here I just felt a little bit of shade and it went down. Did you see that? Wow, that's really interesting that just a tiny bit of shade. I mean, just a little bit. Look at that. So that was clear right there, and just a little bit of shade made it go down to 5 watts. So that panel is not, I don't know. I think it's not running on as it's supposed to. Maybe it's an older panel where if you get one little blockage on one little part, it'll fizzle out like half of it, because it should be generating more than 8 watts. That's ridiculous. Even though it's partly cloudy. Sorry to go off and make this a solar panel update, but I don't know. That's kind of disappointing. 8 watts. But anyhow, this device over here is still only using 32 watts. So I'm just going to let it run. But for this purpose of this test, you can run one of these little 12 volt, 6-pack type of coolers. That's what that is. Relatively inexpensive, I think. I don't know, it was a gift, but I would be surprised if it was more than 50 bucks or so. They're common. They're probably, you don't need to get the well-bilt, but they're very common, I'm sure. See, now we're back up to 50 watts, 51 watts. And where are we at? There you go. So that's what happens when you go in and out of a cloud, I guess. You drop 40, 45 watts. But anyhow, for purposes of this test today, you could run this little cooler, no problem. It only used 35% of the battery. It was not running on solar earlier. So there you go. There's the update. I guess the next time I'm going to actually post both of these at the same time. I'm going to try the warm next time. So tomorrow I'll try the warmer, and we'll see how that does against the battery. And then also I'm just kind of curious to see how warm this will keep it in there. If you can keep, I don't know, spaghetti or coffee or something warm in there. I don't know. All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Okay, so it is the next day. It's a little bit later. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and it's a pretty nice day here. Definitely less clouds in the sky and stuff, but that really shouldn't affect our test too much. So today we're just going to switch this little cooler around. It has a heat function, and you could put like food items in there and stuff like that. But if you do stuff in the cold, like if you're skiing or whatever, my daughter said that possibly you could also put in gloves or something else in there too. So maybe that'd be a good use for it. Anyway, use it for what you want. And this little device has a heating side of it in addition to the cooling side. So we got the Gracell T300 all ready to go. It's charged up 100%. We're not going to do any solar on it, and we're going to leave it running for about the 4 hours total or so, just to see how much juice this thing takes on the heat side versus the cold side. Okay, so as you can see, it is a beautiful day here in Northeast Ohio, and we're starting from 100%. We're going to take out the solar portion of it and put it on DC, and this little sucker goes to warm. Let's see here. You always got to hit this little button here that says DC. Okay, so that turned it on, and it's going to warm. And just like always, sorry, it's got a little magnet on this lid, so it's a little difficult to do it with one hand. So we're just going to start from a shot from the inside. And the inside, to begin with, is around 77 degrees, and that's on the quote unquote cooling part of it. It is a little warmer today. It's nicer out, nice and sunny. So on the back of the wall, 79 degrees in the shade. So that is so it's definitely warmer today than it was during the tests the past couple days, and it's probably because of the sun. Maybe it's a little bit later, but we started off there, and we're starting off on to start 42 watts. I think it started probably a little bit higher. I'll check back in the video, but it usually has a higher starting wattage than it does for the wattage when it gets going. So again, we're starting somewhere just around 78 degrees Fahrenheit on the inside. It's on warm. We're going to let it run. We'll come back and see how long it takes to heat up to whatever degrees. I don't know if it gets up to 80 or 90 or what in there, whatever it considers warm. It doesn't really tell you. And again, this is a well-built. It's one of those kind of, 6-pack-ish coolers that you might, take to the beach, or maybe if you're a trucker, maybe you take it with you in your truck or on long vacations with your family in the van or car or whatever. Lots of different uses, but they're pretty common. And this is just a little kind of a budget entry-level solar charger, battery bank that is very common. So if you got these two together, that would be kind of a common, little starter pack, so to speak. This little solar charger and then this little cooler / heater. So hopefully this comes in handy for what to expect. All right, we'll check in later. Okay, so just real quick, I noticed that when I was signing off that video, it had already gone down to around 37 watts for runtime. So I think that initial, 40-ish, almost 50 watts to start, I think that's just getting the pump going, or the fan, or what have you. The fan's right there behind the strap. And there's probably like a little, I don't know, heat pump in there, for the lack of a better word. You switch it one way, it creates heat. You switch it the other way, it creates cold. I think that's the way heat pumps work. So I think it's basically just a micro little mini heat pump in there that gives the benefits that you want. All right, so I really like this little device right here. It's only about 150 bucks. It comes with multiple little charges for the USBs. Just for the record, I am not sponsored at all. I just found this kind of interesting. A lot of people don't have these, solar charge generators or solar banks, battery banks. So it's always kind of nice to know that they do actually work from somebody else before you spend the money on it. This is kind of like I would say a Jackery, clone, or a Jackery takeoff. I got it on sale on Amazon for about 150 bucks. I'll leave the link in the description if you want. But again, I'm not sponsored at all by any of these people, or the little well-bilt here. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I got that as a present from somebody a while ago. But I was always curious to see if this thing actually worked. I've never used it. So, talking about the little heater cooler. So, oh, did you hear that? That change right there. And then now it goes up to 37. So I think that what's happening on here, why it's not using as much energy, is it's not cycling as fast. Whereas the cooling part of it, when we were testing it yesterday, I think it was just running all the time. I would bet that probably changes, if it were the wintertime as opposed to the summertime. Maybe we'll have like the different results, just based on the ambient temperature. I don't know. Maybe when it gets colder out, I'll test it again. But anyhow, those are the results. So either way, during the summertime, if you wanted to put some pop in here or something like that and keep it cool, it would work. And you could also use that little, battery bank cooler or charger in there. And as a bonus, it also has those little USB chargers, so you can, charge your phone or whatever if you're out camping or at the beach or whatever. And it also has an AC plug in there as well. So I'm really happy. A lot of times you buy this stuff, it doesn't work at all. This little micro test under conditions that I think that some people probably would use this for, something like this. Not just to charge your phone. Why would you buy one of these big things just to charge your phone? You probably just plug it in, to your car adapter, and that's that. So you'd probably use something like this with something like that. So that's why I paired them. So anyhow, if you like content like this, I find it interesting. It's not groundbreaking, but it is real world. And like I said, I'm not sponsored or anything. Please consider hitting like or subscribe. It really helps. I'm trying to reach that 1,000 sub goal. And if you know anything about YouTube, that's really important. So please consider hitting like and subscribe. Thank you so much. All right, so here's the moment of truth. I found this to be really surprising. This heat takes almost no energy. And it might be just because it's a warmer day. Maybe if I did this experiment in the wintertime, it would be a little bit reverse. Because, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me that it would take more energy to heat something or less than it would to cool it the same space. All else being equal. I mean, this is physics, right? But anyhow, check out these results. Okay, so we have the little heater cooler over here. It's been on heat the whole time with the fan running. And it's been on here, it's almost 5 o'clock right now. So several hours anyhow. And look at this, it only has 33 watts out. A second ago it actually said 0. So I think it's kind of fluctuating from time to time. But it's only at 95% of the battery, which the cooling portion of this took way more than that in the same amount of time. So let's see where this gets you for basically only 5% of your battery over about 4 hours. So that's 117 degrees, 176, 181. That's down there on the side down there. You know, and look at that, 120 almost, depending on where it's going, 116. So just to give you an idea, that's that back wall, 85 degrees, so not that much difference. I mean, there is a difference. The front of the thing is 80, 88. Let's see here, that's 80, 88 degrees there. So this is heating up to about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, okay, so it just went down 1% now. But look at that, look at that. It says, do you see that? It says DC out, 0 watts. And I did notice that there was kind of a slight change in the noise in this little machine. So maybe it's not heating so much right now. So maybe it's not, you know, losing as much heat. I don't know. 94% of the battery. It's been several hours. So I think that that's pretty amazing. It is the summertime, so that's, in all fairness, it is the summertime, but it's in the shade inside of this work trailer, and I think that that's really good results. If you wanted to, you could put like a can of soup in there or something, or several cans, go out and have your day, do whatever you wanted to do, and come back and have, you know, a nice warm can of soup, or like if you had leftover spaghetti or mac and cheese or something in a, you know, container, it would be nice and warm for you. I probably wouldn't put plastic in there, so you'd have to plan accordingly, but you know, you could have all kinds of warm stuff in there. And you know, like my daughter said, maybe you could put, you know, like gloves or something like that if you're doing this on a cold day. So that's pretty amazing. It's still 0 degrees out, and it is on. That's really amazing results.